Okay. So this is in the summer of 2020. Um, and the pandemic is still happening. We're back in work at this point, but it's sort of like half hours. It's like the restaurant was only open for like way less hours, and we were closing a lot earlier. We were closing probably closer to around like 11 instead of 1, which was nice. Um, School is basically over at this point, at least the first year. And I had actually failed my finance courses that I needed to end up retaking the year after, which really messed up a lot of my plans, but I'm going to talk about that in the next video. So, anyways, summer 2020, it's warm, it's hot, it's pretty calm. And at the hotel, my manager, he was like, "Oh, we're going to have a supercar rally coming through the hotel this weekend," or whenever. Yeah, it was like during the week or during the weekend. I can't remember the exact date. I was like, all right. So that was like the most number of clients it was gonna be a lot. It was probably like 50 or 60 supercar owners that were doing some rally through Europe or something like that. And they were stopping in the city that I was in, at this hotel. And so I get there the day of, and you can hear the cars in the garage, just supercars like going crazy in the garage. I was like, oh shit, like this is crazy. And they're just like driving up, but not everybody was there yet. It was like a small group, like a couple, like just a couple. Um, and so I walk in, I'm like getting all the stuff ready. I think it was probably like 4:30 or like 5. Like it's still like dinner service. The dinner service starts at 7 generally in France. It generally starts at 7. Like in the States, services are kind of like throughout the whole day. It feels like they're like throughout the whole day almost. But in France, I feel like it's a little bit more structured. They're like, okay, dinner is exactly from 7 to 10 or whatever. Um, so anyways, it's kind of early, and I'm getting the whole thing ready. I'm like cleaning the silverware, like putting the mats out and everything. And I see these dudes walk in, big ass motherfuckers. It's huge. Like 6'3", 6'4", 220, 230. I was like, bro, what? Like, I was like, who the fuck are these guys, bro? Like 3 of them. And this is at the time where Andrew Tate, Tristan Tate, and his cousin Luke, they were not known yet. They hadn't blown up or anything like that on the internet because it was 2020. Like it hadn't happened yet. But this was also at the same time that I was really like sort of getting more locked in on like the whole like masculinity thing, like red pill, just the whole masculine frame, like all the stuff that I was like just looking into and just studying more. And like I saw them walking, I was like, damn, like okay, those are some real motherfuckers, bro. I was like, okay, like I respect that. And as I was learning, I was like, okay, these guys got something figured out. These guys definitely got something figured out. And so they come in, they check in, but I don't know who they are. Nobody knows who they are because obviously they hadn't blown up yet. And they walk in, they take a seat, like in the cafe, and there is actually a video of this, somewhere on YouTube, because I know I've told this story before and some people didn't believe me, but this is a very, very real story. I have to find a clip. Um, there's a clip of like Tristan talking or something like that in the cafe where I was working at, like in the restaurant, the cafe part of the restaurant. So they sit down and they just want to order up a bunch of booze, and they're speaking English. And me, I speak French and English. I was like, oh, they sound like Americans. I was like, all right, so let me go talk to them. And so I go up, I start talking to Andrew. I'm like, oh, like, where you guys from? Da 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 da. Like, he was like, ah, it's complicated, but we're like half British, half American. I was like, oh shit, like that's sick, man. Like I'm American too. And then we just started chopping it up. He's like, "Yeah, like, what are you doing out here?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm just going to school, like, I'm working, just trying to get it together and everything." He was like, "Wow, that's great, bro. Like, that's awesome." I was like, "Yeah," and so they order up a bunch of booze, and they order up like all the booze from like all the hard liquor that we had. I think it was like all the vodka. I'm pretty sure it was all the vodka. It was either all the vodka or all the gin that we had because we only had maybe like like 4 or 5 bottles on the shelves because when you serve gin or vodka or whatever, like you're not serving up huge fucking pints, you're serving up shots. So generally it lasts a long time, so that's why we don't have a lot in stock. But they bought the whole stock. And they're being super loud, like just obnoxious laughing and everything like that. The rest of the staff, they're very French and like, who the hell are these like Americans, and just being loud and like rude and everything. But I was kind of enjoying it. I was like, damn, I was like, they're just living life, bro. Like they're just living life. They figured something out. They're living life and they're just having a good time. And then like what was it? Like sort of later, like a bunch of chicks come in and like meet up with them. I think it was like 5 or 6 chicks, like top model chicks, bro. This is why like people were saying like, oh, Andrew Tate's not really. I'm like, bro, no, no, no. Like he's really like him, Tristan, Luke, like they really do this shit in real life, bro. Um, like super fire chicks come in. And then the other supercar owners start like rolling in slowly. You just hear them come in the garage, like just crazy, crazy supercars, like all wrapped and shit like that, like just sick. And so I'm going through the regular restaurant service, and then Andrew and then they get a huge ass table in the back. It's like 10 of them, and so they get dinner. They like order a bunch of steaks and beer and all that stuff, and they're eating, and then the night keeps going on, progressing and whatever. They finished eating their dinner, and then I'm like cleaning up the table. They all had left the table, and then it's just Andrew sitting at the table. And I'm asking like, yo, how was it, bro? Like it was good. He was like, oh man, it was fantastic. He was just sitting there like full of shit. Like not full of shit, like he was just full, like because he ate a lot. And he's just sitting there, he's like, yeah, it was fantastic, bro. He was just like digesting, and then he left me like a crazy tip. And and then they start going out like there's like a terrace area, like a huge plaza in front of the restaurant. And they start going out there and like drinking whatever after drinks. So we're serving drinks outside. It's probably like 50 people outside. And I hear this. I'm at the bar with my coworker, and I hear this the like a crash. It was like glass. It sounded like glass breaking or whatever. We both look at each other. It's like, what the fuck? And so we walk out, and Andrew literally has this dude, bro, by the collar, like this, and he's like screaming at him, bro. Like the dude's saying shit. Andrew's literally fucking screaming at him and shit. My coworker and I are just out there like looking like, bro, like what the fuck? And and my coworker, because she was kind of like my boss. Well, she was like the head, like I guess restaurant manager or whatever. And she's like, go inside, call the cops. I was like, fuck, because I kind of wanted to watch too. I wanted to watch like what was gonna happen. She's like, go inside, call the police. I was like, all right, all right, all right. So I go inside, like I tell them like, all right, you guys gotta call the police and everything. And then I walk back outside, like the tables are falling over and shit. And then the dude is like somewhere far away. I don't even know where that happened to that dude. But Andrew, Tristan, and Luke are at the table, and they're telling him to like calm down and everything. Because he's super heated. And I walk in, I'm like, bro, like y'all good? Like he was like, yeah, man, like sorry about that, like about the table and everything. I was like, no, no, you're good, you're good, you're good. And so I start cleaning up and everything, and then people just start dipping at that point after that. And then I go back inside, and then I walk back in, and they dip. But it was crazy then because like when I was like, I didn't know who they were until maybe like a month or two after. Then I came across a video. I was like, oh shit. I was like, damn, this is the dude, bro. This is literally the dude that was at the restaurant. And then he just blew the fuck up. I was like, bro, that's crazy as fuck. So that was a really crazy moment. That was a really crazy moment. That was just yeah, that was wild, bro. And it was interesting. It was interesting because it was at a moment where I was like sort of just looking at all this stuff like the masculinity crisis and everything. Um so that was funny. Yeah, but that's how I met Andrew Tate.